What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Hope Shot. Hope you guys had a great weekend. I know I did. Bunch of chill action because we work too much sometimes. You know how that goes. If you guys just jumping on, say what's up. Let us know you're here. Caesar, would you please read the clarity statement?
I will, Justin.
Thanks, Caesar.
The Hope Shot Clarity Statement. We here at the Hope Shot are a group of people in recovery, spreading inspiration. We come from all different walks of life and pathways of recovery. Our verbiage may be different at times, but we all have one thing in common. Recovery is a lifestyle. We support all pathways of recovery. It doesn't matter how you get from A to Z, just get there. And thank you for being a part of our Hope Shot family.
Thanks, Caesar. Appreciate you. All right, so we got a couple people in the comments. We got Allie. What's up, Allie? Hope you're doing well. And we got Kelly. What's up, Kelly? And then we got Rachel. Hey, I love you so much too. So tonight, man, we're just gonna get jumped right into here. We're gonna be talking about we just went to I want to tell you how crazy this is too. So this morning we went to a meeting, and then after that we had a celebration of life and recovery month, man. I don't know what it is about recovery month, but in that recovery month, man, there's been a lot of overdoses, and it's been hitting hard. And it's really crazy. This morning, 7 years ago, I did a celebration of life for my mom at Green Key Beach. Crazy, right? I didn't know that till after the fact, but exactly same day 7 years ago, and it just Tiffany told me that a little while ago. And I was like, man, this is something we definitely need to talk about more. And because this thing is a life and death thing right here. This recovery, we talk about it often, that it ain't no fun and games anymore. It's not innocent. It's literally a death sentence. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about, embracing your recovery. It's a matter of life and death. And I'm going to let Nate kick it off. No, the one behind you.
Oh, geez. I wasn't ready. All right. What up, everybody? Happy Sunday. So yeah, embracing your recovery, a matter of life and death. When I was talking to Justin this morning about the celebration of life, I started kind of reflecting on how much I trivialized, and maybe not trivialized, but how oblivious or careless, my perception was of life. The behaviors that I engaged in, and without much consideration or deep thought, that to the fact that I could die at any minute, and it's not like I knew it wasn't a possibility, because I had my first overdose when I was 16 years old. I was in a coma for like a few days after it, and there was many more after that to follow. And it's the insanity of this disease that can convince me that it's going to be different, or that I am impervious to the reality of what where this disease can take you, or how it could potentially take you out. And the irony is, it's not like I didn't want to die. I didn't wish to not live. But I got into such a dark and like desolate, depressed state, to where it didn't really concern me one way or the other what happened to me. I remember ending up on my last run. I remember ending up in in the hospital when it was one of my first experiences with fentanyl back in 2015. or 16 maybe. And I remember being irritated that that I was Narcaned, waking up and like having like what'd you do that for? Like, you know what I mean? And I ended up at the hospital, and I remember someone bringing me the very thing that nearly killed me to the hospital and me doing it in the bathroom. And I mean, I don't say that to earn any cool points or to, as a badge of honor. I share that anecdote to express the insanity and to kind of give you a picture of just where I was at, So that's where I was at back then. And why was I there, right? I was there because I felt unworthy of life, I felt that I didn't deserve to be among my peers, my friends, whatever friends I had left, my family. I was full of shame, full of guilt. I was afraid to look in the mirror. I was afraid to go out in public, So for me, just any escape to not feel the way I felt and to not have to feel that uncomfortable in my skin was enticing. It was alluring, whether it be, oblivion from opiates or a psychosis from a 2-week long meth run, whether it was a blackout from Xanax, whether it was potentially death, whatever took me away from how I felt, I welcomed, So this is the guy that comes into this recovery deal, right? That in that state of mind and completely broken, completely hopeless, zero options, no more ideas. And I surrender to this way of life, and I am given the greatest gift, right? Freedom from that hopeless obsession, this obsession that has been dictating and ruling my life for the last 20 plus years is miraculously lifted. And in that space, I am afforded like the freedom to breathe finally, to really do a self-evaluation, to look at myself and see what I need in order to keep moving forward in my recovery program, right? And in that moment, if this is for me personally, I understood that I may never get this chance again. The way I get loaded, I may not have this opportunity again. I knew that this was a serious gift. It was something that I didn't take for granted finally. And with that sense of urgency, I got to work. I got busy. I connected with my fellows. I connected with the sponsor. I formed a really deep relationship with my higher power. And what I've seen, through this last few years, I've seen countless people not get this, countless people that had it go back out and die. I've seen so many people, play with the idea of one more time, and it's not how it used to be. You know what I mean? What used to be a party is not a party anymore. This stuff is serious business there. And you say, well, I don't shoot heroin. Well, I work for an organization where I make phone calls and talk to people that just overdose. And they're saying, I just took a Xanax and it was laced with fentanyl. I was smoking weed. It was laced with, this shit is everywhere. There, nobody is exempt or, it's not safe out there for friends and family. It is not safe to get loaded and party anymore the way I think people like I do. And anybody that's here probably can relate to this. So with that knowledge, with that awareness, I take that and I dig in deeper. I get closer to God. I get closer to my purpose. I take all my daily disciplines, all my spiritual practices so serious. I understand that if I don't want to slip, I don't want to regress, I want to continuously move forward. And in that space, I have to keep my feet moving. I have to stay busy. I have to read my books every morning. I have to pray. I have to pull cards, whatever it takes. I have to connect to God. I have to connect with my fellows on a daily basis. and I have to make myself available to give this message to somebody else. But I also know that as serious as I know this is, and as it's I have a grave and great responsibility to not only show up for my own recovery, to make myself whole, to right the wrongs that I've done, but I have even a greater responsibility is to reach my hand out to someone where I used to be. And we have, to make all those near death experiences, all that shame, all that guilt, all that stuff that I experienced in the past worth something. I can turn all of that into my greatest purpose, which is to reach another alcoholic or an addict and to be an example of what a miracle looks like. If you understood where I used to be, cannot argue the fact that recovery works and it's available to anyone. This is not an exclusive club. Everyone is welcome. And I just love the opportunity, and I take it very seriously. But in the same breath, we have fun. It's not like we're not a glum lot, like some of the literature says. We as much as we understand how serious this is, we're able to make light of what used to be dark, and we're able to reach out our hand in a welcoming and embraceful way, so this thing looks appealing. And I'm not here to hammer somebody over the head with my message. The way I can get somebody to understand is by them merely seeing how I walk in my recovery. So of course I'm going to take that seriously. I have to be a good example of what recovery looks like, not just in a meeting, not just in a business setting or in my organization, but in my day-to-day life, how I'm practicing these principles in all my affairs. How am I showing up? So someone that's watching me says, hey, if he can do it, I can. And if there has ever been a time where this is really a big deal and very important to show up with integrity and honesty and kindness and compassion and non-judgment, regardless of what's going on externally. Yeah, man, lives are at stake, and I'm just so honored. It's a privilege to be in a position to, to pass this message along and hopefully, translate a message of hope and recovery and transformation. I mean, it's possible. I promise.
Yeah. That's pretty much it, man. We're just messengers. We just show up every Sunday, man, to carry the message and hopes that somebody out there struggling hears something and it changes their mindset and it makes them want to move forward instead of regress from this recovery deal. You can see the topic on the bottom, embracing recovery. You just jumping on embracing recovery, a matter of life and death. It's it pains me to see so many people suffering in and outside the rooms, people that have years. Like, we always think the newcomer. Well, shit, what about the people with years? I had somebody on last week, John G, talked about it perfectly. He has 10 years, man, and we go through shit every single day. We're all human. We go through the same things. And just a simple phone call, reach out to somebody just to say, hey, how are you? And I'm guilty of it, man. And we were just talking about that earlier, this morning. We're all guilty of it, man. Life is busy. Gets so mundane and so full, and kids and this and that. How do you keep up? How do you keep up with calling somebody and reaching out? You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it becomes much. It becomes a lot. Trying to, make up for lost times a lot. I'm guilty of that too. I'm always trying to make up for lost times. Like, I'm trying to reach this destination of some place that I'm magically make me happy. And in that process, man, I suck at peopling. You know what I mean? Like, I really do. And I don't mean to. I like people sometimes, but I get in my head too. I get messed up. Like, nobody really wants me around. Nobody cares. People would be better off without me here. That gets in my head too. And I was talking about the topic for tonight being the war between the you and the not you, because I feel like the truth is about who we are as people and people that like us, you know, I feel like nobody really wants me around. And that's the not me. You know what I mean? That's the me that wants me dead. That's the me that keeps me in my addiction. So that's why I say that so much, is because it's literally a spiritual warfare out there. And it's chemical warfare. You know, somebody put a comment on one of the posts a little bit ago. It's population control, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, damn, bro. Well, I've really thought about that. Like, really, I really did. And I was like, because, like, I mean, dude, we're losing people left and right. We're losing people left and right, dude. Just the other day, 2 days ago, I heard that somebody passed away, one of my old workers' wives, and I'm like, what is going on out here, man? What is really going on? And if you're struggling out there and you think nobody freaking cares, like, get out of your head, get out of your head, on your feet, get on the phone. And anybody that feels like they need to reach out to somebody, just make the call. You know what I mean? We ain't all promised tomorrow. At any given minute, man, we might not wake up, or we might freaking do something, you know, that we might not be here to say the next words, you know? And that's why I really want to talk about this, man, because man, the drugs are getting, like I said last week, man, the drugs are, the week before I said, the drugs are getting harder, man. And we just need to make sure that we're reaching out to people. Somebody you haven't seen in a while, make sure you reach out to them, you know. And stay out of your fucking head. Call your support group. Get that support group. Don't play with this game. This recovery deal is afforded to everybody and anybody that is willing to try something different. And that means putting in the work. Like, it does take work. You know, if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it, right? You know? And I just really, man, we gotta work on the things that are like I said, the not me. I need to pump up the real me. You know what I mean? I need to strengthen that dude. I need to strengthen him. So when that not you comes around and talks that smack, right? The me is ready to go. And he's like, nah, that's it. That's bullshit. That's that bullshit. And it comes at it. Who knows when it's gonna happen, man? We could be, that halt, that halt, the is that hungry, angry, lonely, tired. That's when it comes and talks shit. Ready to go. But yeah, I just man, I wish we talked about this more and just keep talking about it, keep drilling it. That recovery, man, we have to embrace the recovery life. It's a lifestyle. And just get out of your own fucking way for a minute and believe somebody that's next to you that wants to see you do good, and believe that they have your best interests at heart. And because there is a lot of good ones out there, a lot. But I'm gonna let Haley speak on this topic real quick. You gotta unmute yourself, Haley.
All right, I got this.
Thank you.
So, hey guys, I'm Haley, and I'm grateful to be here. Also, I'm grateful to be able to share a message to anybody who's listening. And like when I think about this right here with the matter of life and death, what jogged my thought was the stuff that I've been through in my active addiction, kind of what Nate was sharing as far as like the things that I put myself through, I put my body through. Like, it didn't matter what was going on. It didn't matter what I had to do, the ways and means to find more. Somebody said, somebody overdosed from this stuff over here. They got it from this house. And I was like, what house? That was where I was going. That's what I wanted. And it wasn't really that I intended on, like overdosing. That's not in my story. I never did overdose. But I'm not saying it's not possible for me to happen. It just didn't happen for me then. And I always thought like I was invincible. It wouldn't happen to me in a lot of different situations, especially in that, because I'd see all these people overdosing and then I'd go do the same stuff, and like I'm just bigger, badder. I didn't have that same experience. And like ego and pride kept me out too. and not realizing that, it's a matter of life and death. I just didn't think that that would happen to me. And through my experience, like I remember when I first ended up, coming into it, there were a couple times I had tried recovery, and I remember separating myself from the people. I remember them expressing or sharing their experience with me as far as like the overdosing and the things that had happened, and those things didn't happen to me yet. So I would separate myself, and again think that there was something different, and that it didn't affect me in that same matter. And I remember going to jail, and I remember being in there, and I ended up getting news like a couple weeks in that the same girl that I was using with OD'd at a house that I used to use at, with a guy that it was his house. And he went to prison for a lot of years because he was sleeping with her while she was dead for days. And I mean, that's the reality of like this matter of life and death and the situations that we put ourselves in. And like, we never really know what's going to happen. And I remember like that, like hit me so hard. And then throughout the years, as far as like the experience and like embracing my recovery now, and you know actually taking what other people have experienced. So no, I haven't overdosed, but I hear like what other people have went through, and I take that to heart. I take that seriously, and then the people that I've experienced that have overdosed, since the time that I've been in the rooms and I've been working a recovery myself. And I come from a really small area, and there's not been like a lot of newcomers, as you would call them. We don't really get a lot of new people, especially with the COVID thing going on. There's not like let's say halfway houses or things like that where like a lot of people come in. So I've been afforded an opportunity to become a part of an area where I get to embrace my recovery, and I get to share my experience, and I get to be there, for the suffering addict. And um, like I can't even imagine going back out and using. And sometimes like my mind, that disease, just randomly, I'll be driving past somewhere and it'll pop in my head like, get high, getting high is a good idea. And I'm like, where did that come from? Where the hell did that come from? My life is so great. Why would that even be an option? But it's because, you know, my my the things that my demons, my inner demons, the things that I'm still working on, the fact that like I'm an addict, that's just a natural. So birds fly and addicts think about getting high, like that's just what's in me. And I have to accept that, I accept that, so that way I can move forward and I can move past it. And what I learned too in the very beginning was, I remember the first time too I ever experienced it. I always thought if I thought about getting high, I had to get high. I had to use if I thought about it. And knowing what my consequences were, and like Nate mentioned, just jumping right in and knowing what I had to do to embrace my recovery, to move forward, to not fall back into those patterns. Like I had to do everything that they said. And I remember that first time I didn't get high. And I was like, holy shit. Like I don't have to do that. And that's just one experience that piled on top of so many of me embracing my recovery and doing what I needed. But it wasn't until I was willing to truly put in that work before some change actually happened, and you know, the woman that I am today is capable of embracing a recovery and being there for other women. I hate to say it, but I didn't always carry what I have. I didn't even know how to be there for myself, more or less someone else. And today, like answering the phone, picking up the phone, showing up, bringing somebody to a meeting, like sharing my experience, regardless of something inside of me saying what I have to say isn't good enough. And, I don't have anything to offer. I push past those fears anyway, because this is a matter of life and death, and it ain't all about me, my selfish and self-centeredness. And like I do. It's been said by both of you guys. I have a responsibility here. And my responsibility is to share my experience, strength, and hope with somebody else in hopes that, it can help them and change their life just like it's changed my life. And I at times have wanted it more for people than they've wanted it for themselves. And that's been a hard experience for me too. I've had to learn from that. But like that's what we get here. Like we get relationships, like, my relationship with my sponsor, my relationship with my higher power. Like those are things that have built me to be able to have relationships with other people and set boundaries, because it is a matter of life and death and I have a responsibility to help, but I also need to set a boundary for myself, and sometimes I wonder, like, why me? I say that and I get so emotional. Like all these people I see dying. I mean, I had this girl who I met in rehab who was like everything to me. Like she brought me into this. She made it so attractive. It was like so important to her for me to get this. And then I got it. And then she went back out and died. And she was one of those people who, one more time, she had her own apartment. She had her life together. Everything was amazing for her. And she just thought, one more time, nobody could get a hold of her. 3 days later, they go to her house and she's been dead in her house for 3 days, and like we don't realize, I didn't realize how much my choices affected other people. That woman that I mentioned before about, overdosing and literally being just put through what she was put through even after death, had 3 little boys that she left behind, and like those little boys will never have a mom again. And to me it's like so important. Like this isn't just about me. If I pass away, I leave everybody that loves me behind. And today, because of the work that I put in, using isn't an option. It's a thought, but like it's fleeting, and it's not an obsession or a compulsion, but it's only based off of the work that I've put in, and I keep what I have by continuing to give it away. I'm really grateful to be part of this podcast. I love that you asked me to come. So thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Haley. That was powerful. You always go on here and spit that power. I love it. Thank you for coming on here tonight and sharing this topic with us. It's definitely needs to be talked about. Caesar, you want me to read some comments? You want to run right into it, bruh?
Hit a couple comments and then I'll go.
Okay, I'm gonna hit a couple comments.
I don't like to leave our viewers sitting out there unread.
Leave them on red. Some gaslight going. No. Let's see. We're gonna go up here. Here we go. We'll start from the beginning. We got Air Rucka in the house. You always know I gotta hit that up. Let's see. We got a new person right here. Hey Danielle, good to see you. Glad you're here. We have Kelly hitting her up and conversating with her. Let's see. We got Rachel says fentanyl being compounded into Xanax is a real deal. My first overdose in 2016 happened because of that. So freaking scary. And they look exactly like they are. And same with blues. We got Brett says I got to remember on my best day. I need this program as much as I did on my most miserable, desperate one. My name's Brent, and I'm a recovering crackhead. Hell yeah. Welcome. Glad you're here, my friend. Good to see you. And we got Lynn. Happy Sunday, guys. Love y'all. Love you too. We got Lindsay. Totally relate to being in that hopeless state of mind and not caring if I lived or died. I'm so grateful I got that spark of hope that ignited my soul to live a new way of life. You know what they always say, man, don't leave 5 minutes before the miracle. And that is so true. So true. Let's see, we got Anna. I was telling my friend about my sponsor helped me to see about myself recently. She was like, I've been telling you that about yourself for 2 years. Laughed my ass off. We don't hear it until we're ready to hear it. That's it. Why didn't you tell me earlier? I have been. What the hell? Like to beat our head a little bit, Let's see. We got Corey says, some will get it, some won't. Some will keep struggling until they aren't. And that's a sad truth right there. Christina, I thankfully get to work in a recovery field, and it helps to keep me clean. Just for the day, if you're struggling, don't hesitate to reach out, please. Exactly. Yeah, our messenger is always open. We also have a hotline. 833 My Hope 4. It's always open as well. Let's see. We got Shannon. If I'm not working towards my recovery, I'm working towards my relapse. Yep. And some of us we're like this close. You know what I mean? We're always this close. We're in relapse mode is what they say, right? Staying sober. You're going to get your ass kicked every day. You might as well face it with the strength sobriety gives us, in my opinion. James, I make 1 year on Tuesday the 10th. Congratulations, man. A year I had an intentional overdose because I was beaten and battered and thought that was my definition of surrender. 363 days later, surrender to me is to stop fighting. I have to let go and let my higher power today. I do the possible, then get out of the way so my higher power can do the possible. That's right. All right. I'm going to save the rest. Go ahead, Caesar.
All right. So I love what everybody's talking about because it is serious. It's I come from a background of I was shooting heroin for the better part of 20 years before I got this thing, and then using everything else that I could get my hands on. I can relate with what Nate said. I remember being brought back with Narcan one time and being like, why? Why did you do that? Being pissed, really. I had overdosed in a Circle K bathroom, and the door opened in, and I fell down in front of the door, and the fire department had to literally kick the door open because my body was laying in front of it. And, I was so hopeless. I really didn't want to live. I was really upset. I said that I was mad because they killed my high, but if I'm being honest, I was mad because they woke me up, period. And it's just a dark place to be. And what we're talking about is, that was, I don't know, maybe 12 years ago, that time that I'm talking about. And the drugs have only gotten worse. So I was a habitual overdoser then. And I truly believe that God had got me out of the game, because just like Haley, if somebody told me that people were dying over on 15th Street, I was going to 15th Street because obviously the dope was stronger over there and I can handle it. They can't, but I definitely can. And that was the lie that I would tell myself. The same person that was dying on a regular basis and had to be brought back, but it's not going to hurt me. Like, it makes no sense, but the disease doesn't make sense. Our brains are all fried. So I get to this last rehab and I do the one thing that I had never done before. I knew how to go through a rehab and get out the other side, but I never did any work on the inside. I'd only fix up the outside, lift some weights, put a little weight on, get some clean clothes, follow the rules enough to get out the door. And that's all I did. No changes were made, nothing on the inside. I was the exact same person walking out the door that walked in the front door. Well, in this last one, I was out of freaking ideas. I was out of schemes. I was out of plans. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I was 37 years old and I tried everything within my willpower to stop shooting up and doing drugs. And I couldn't do it, and I was pissed off when they sent me to another rehab because I was like, this is stupid. Just send me to prison, because what is the point of another rehab? I've done this, inpatient. I've done 5 times. I don't even know how many times I did outpatient or counseling or being court ordered to meetings and all this stuff. But this guy came in and he shared a message, and the suffering that he shared, I could relate to. The mess that he came out of, I could definitely relate to, because I was still in the mess. Except the guy was calm and just had a lightness about him that I couldn't relate to at all. Everything in my life was heavy. I always had big charges over my head. I was always on the verge of disaster, looking over my shoulder for the people that I screwed over or the cops. There was nothing to laugh at anymore. And this guy had the same background that I had, except he had this freedom and this joy about him. And I was like, shit, man, what have I got to lose? I'm going to ask this guy to help me. And we got to work. And I don't know, this might be controversial, but when your ass is on fire, it's not that hard to do what you're supposed to do. I'm sitting in a rehab. I've got I think a 10-year suspended sentence over my head. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do right then. I'm going to get out of the rehab. But when I got out, he got me connected to every damn meeting out in this area. There was nowhere I could go that I didn't know somebody. He made it so I could be comfortable to walk into these rooms and see a friendly face. He introduced me, and time went on where we worked, and I did what I was supposed to do, and it was time to get off probation. And I've never completed probation. I had probation officers go in front of judges and say, he is not probation material. We've dealt with him before. Mr. Rodriguez needs to go to prison. Stop sending him to us. It's just a waste of time. I completed early term doing the right thing, right? And this is what I'm getting to is I go in front of the judge and they're like, yeah, you're free and clear. Everything's good. Court costs, they're paid. I'd never been free of anything. I had something over my head. And I met with my sponsor that night and he goes, what are you going to do now? I was like, what do you mean? What am I going to do now? He goes, what are you going to do now? You're not court ordered to go anywhere. You don't have anyone telling you what to do anymore. I was like, I'm going to do exactly what got me to this point that I've never gotten to before. I've never done this. I've never completed before. I completed the program. I completed the probation. I'm going to keep doing this recovery deal, and I want to see where it takes me. Now, everybody that's on this screen is in recovery, in the trenches, all the time. It's easy for us to remember where we came from because we talk about it all the time. It's easy for us to say, hey, I don't want to go back to old behaviors because we see the newcomers. But I'm sharing this for the people that are not on the screen. When you do this deal, your life starts getting better. My job got better. My house got better. Everything got better. And it's the very blessings that come into your life that can take your eye off of the ball. And you focus on, oh man, if I got this nice house, if I work a little harder, maybe I can get a nicer house. I don't need to make it to that meeting tonight because I'm too busy building my empire, or I'm too busy doing this. Well, those little things are a slippery slope where it's just one meeting this week and it's just this that week. And it's just an overdose the following week because this shit does not play around. So no matter what I've got going on, I have to have contact with new people because I got to remember where I came from. I have a freaking body of experience in the past that shows me that I'll forget where I came from. And I'll say, shit, I made too big of a deal out of all of this. I could probably at least go drink, maybe I can go have beers. Well, if I'm doing my deal, I can certainly remember all the stories that started with me just going to the bar and ended up with me in the dope hole. So that doesn't work for me. I've got to stay in the center of the boat. I've got to stay talking to my people on a regular basis. And I have to have contact with newcomers so that I can see where I came from. Because that's me sitting on the other side. That's me 9 years ago, sitting there shaking with track marks on their arms and all of that. That's me. And I need to see that shit. I got out of there before the fentanyl hit in a major way. And I know that if I was out there now, my dumbass would be the first one in line going, just like Haley said, I can handle it because you guys are dumb. You're doing it wrong. I'll do it right, and my ass is going to die. And I love what you said, Haley, because it's not really about if I die to me. It's about the people around me. It's my kids, my wife, my friends. It sends ripples out. Our actions, our death, whatever we're doing sends ripples out. In the past, the ripples were just destruction, devastation, broken hearts, worried people. That's what we sent out when we were in our active addiction. Today, we're sending out hope, positivity. We're showing that this thing is possible because, I'll speak for just me and Nate. We shouldn't be sitting here. There's just no shot we should be sitting here. So we must be here for a reason. So let's take advantage of this reason and give back as much as possible. Haley said it too. Why me? I don't know why me either. Everybody that I used with is either dead or they're serving a life sentence in prison. They're not getting out anytime soon. And I'm living this beautiful life. So they say gratitude's an action word. I better freaking act grateful for this gift that was given to me and share it and make myself available and be there for people like the people that were there for me. The guy that sponsored me in the beginning, he showed me how to live. It wasn't just being a sponsor. I had no clue what it was to be a responsible adult. I had no idea how to function in society. All I did was steal from society, hide from society, numb myself so I didn't have to be around society. Now that I'm in recovery and I'm representing this thing, I have to be in society and I have to be an asset to society. I have to be the opposite. And he's the one who showed me all of that, made me open my mouth up and speak in front of people for the first time, even when I didn't want to. This buddy of mine, Sean, I remember in front of this big meeting, he was like, hey, we don't have a speaker, and it was like 2 weeks after I got out of rehab. And I'm like, oh, that sucks. Y'all don't have a speaker. He's like, no. You're going to be the speaker. And I was like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. I'm not doing that at all. He's got a way with words. He's like, you're going to turn your back on the program that saved your life. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. And I got up there with a shaky ass voice, physically trembling. And I shared that and I faced that fear all the time now. I want my voice to be heard. I want all of our voices to be heard. The more we talk about this thing, the more we decrease the stigma and make it easier for somebody else to speak up and say they have a problem and ask for help. Because there's so much shame and guilt that we drag into this thing when we first get into recovery that we feel like that this mountain of shit we can never chip away at it. So when we learn that we can and we can have a good life, we damn well better show the next person how to do it, because what a blessing it is to live the way that I live today, to not have to look over my shoulder. I don't owe anybody any money. I didn't rob anybody today. Nobody's losing sleep over me for doing dumbass stuff. All of that's gone. And the most beautiful blessing is that I never want to go back to being just consumed day and night with the next one. That's all I thought about. There was no room up here for anything else except for, okay, well, I've got this much and I'm going to have to get some more later because by 5 o'clock, I'm going to be sick again. And if I get it at 5 o'clock, I better make sure that I have it. And then what do I have to do to get the money to do it? Because I got to do the shady shit to get the money to make sure that I have the thing. All day, every day, 24/7. That's all you think about. Scheming, lying, stealing to get another one. And I haven't had any of that for the better part of 9 years. My mind has been clear to be able to grasp these concepts, these spiritual principles that guide me today. If you had told me 9 years ago that I would talk about spiritual principles or higher powers or God or any of these things, I would have been like, you're a freaking lunatic. I'm not. I was the guy that was so frequent in county jail that everybody in booking and everybody in the pods knew me by name. And it was a joke when I would come back. Well, because of recovery, I'm not a joke anymore. I get to represent something that has substance and can help people. And I take that very seriously.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. See, one second, Nate. When you said I didn't have to rob anybody today, I was Ice Cube came to mind. I don't know why. I don't know why that came to mind. I was like, I didn't even have to use my AK.
If you ever look at my charges, it's not a joke though. I was a grimy person when I was out there. It's not the person that you know. It's not the person that anybody in Pasco County knows. And I don't want that person to ever come back. And that's why I stay vigilant in this deal. I don't, I pray that I continue doing this on a daily basis and my kids never have to meet that piece of shit that I used to be.
I want to say real quick, Nate, one thing before I forget it. This morning, what was talked about as well, and I think Roy was talking about it, but to, like all these people that depend on you for one thing, and that just want you around for the long haul, right? And they don't care about your job, the money. They don't care anything about fancy house, nothing, right? But it made me think of what was shared this morning was to honor the people that, we do celebrations of life, and to honor these people, this celebration of life. It's like, what is something we could change in our own lives to honor their life? And I thought to myself, wow, that's deep. That's real deep, because we go to celebrations of life and then it's done, right? That's you go move on with life. But what's one thing you can do every day that you can honor somebody's life that just passed away from OD? Haley, you said it a minute ago. Your friend that got you into the program, and she passed away, and here you are. And it's like, it's almost like an agreement that you make with that person. You know what I mean? That that the survivor's guilt, I guess you could say. And what does that look like? Well, you know what you need to do. It's stay in recovery, help the next person, and share it, So I just wanted to say that because I thought that was so profound this morning. I was like, holy shit, man, that is seriously profound to me. So just want to share that.
The debt of gratitude. That's what I was always told it is. We have a debt of gratitude to act grateful for the programs that we're in. And if we're acting grateful, we're sharing this program.
Exactly.
All right. Am I up? Yeah. Am I up? All right. Yeah. Caesar made me think of something. And I think it's super important that me personally, I cannot forget this, because there is more than one way to be dead, metaphorically, almost literally, actually, because I cannot even conceive of going back to the way I was, because to me, I was spiritually, emotionally, mentally dead. I had no life. There was no love. There was no hope. There was no joy. Everything was artificial. Everything was dark. To that spiritual death, that void, scares me 100 times more than physical death. I was haunted by who I was and what I did. And that's what scares the shit out of me. Someone put a comment in this thing. You'll hear people say, I don't have another run of me. Bullshit. I know I have another run in me. That's my reality. I know what I'm capable of. And with that awareness, what am I doing? How am I building up a defense against that very thing? Because it is my reality. I am a few inventories away, a few not calling somebody, a few, weeks of falling off to going back to how I was. It's my reality. I have to concede to my innermost self who and what I am. And in that knowledge, in that awareness, I am I am equipped, I am armed with the facts of what I have, and I know how to fight it. And yeah, for me, man, though, that spiritual death is something that I can't even that's what scares the shit out of me, you know, because I've never known such sadness, such loneliness, such isolation, such lack of hope, and just consumed with fear always. You know, I was so afraid. I was terrified of existing. Of I remember waking up and being paralyzed with fear of what I was going to do next. Just not even being able to move, you know, incapacitated by fear. You know, if that doesn't scare the shit out of somebody, I don't know what does. You know, that's what keeps me motivated today, you know, to not have to ever feel that way again.
Haley, do you want to chime in and comment or anything?
I mean, I absolutely love, sharing things like this and getting other people's perspectives, and I heard you say, Nate, that you definitely have another run in you. And that's, see, I've heard other people say that also, that they don't. And I know that I have that. The thing is I don't know if I have another recovery in me, and I'm not willing to go back out and figure it out. And, wow, I'm just grateful, man. I'm grateful to be here, and, I'm grateful to hear you guys' experience, and, just what a powerful message from everybody tonight, and just, embracing my recovery and sticking around, and, doing what I need to do. And remember, like, this is life and death. Like, it's not all about me. It affects all the people that I love and care about. And, if I'm not, someone else said in there, like, if I'm not working on my recovery, I'm working on a relapse. And, like, it's really important for me to keep doing what I'm doing here. And, I'm just grateful to be a part of this. Thanks.
Dude,
Thanks for coming on, Haley.
I love what Nate said. Just, can I add this part? I didn't know that wasn't normal. I didn't know that it was not a normal thing to just dread life day in and day out. I didn't know people were genuinely happy until I got into recovery. I'd be fake happy. I'd smile, but I was literally dead inside. So you're like, I never want to go back. It was the worst thing ever. But when I was in the middle of it, that's just what was familiar and normal to me. I was like, everyone's a fraud but me. I'm really showing them, because I know you're all dead inside. So I'm just living it out loud. Turns out that people really are, happy, joyous, and free. I just hadn't met them yet.
Yeah, isn't it funny, Caesar? Isn't it funny the things that we normalized in our use?
What we'll accept as an okay life.
Yeah, I could normalize the darkest, most decadent, gnarliest fucking things, man, to where I just felt like, everybody's been through this, Actually,
everybody gets arrested on a weekly basis. That's normal, right?
Yeah. No, listen, when
like, a couple times a month, right? It's normal.
I mean, that's what we normalize. That's what we're brought up in. It's what we're accustomed to. It is going to jail and using.
It was our normal, right?
Yeah.
That was our norm.
Until there was a different way. And now that we know there's a different way, there's a different lifestyle. Now it's not normal.
Yeah. And now that looks real ugly.
And now we look like the same people to the other people. No, just kidding. It's flip-flop. Now I'm all,
and what's super scary, and when you're in that darkness, when you're just like spiritually vacant and dead is, and for me it was like a complete lack of self-worth. Like it is scary to think about the things I would allow in that state for being like, knowing that, accepting the fact that I wasn't worthy of anything other than what I was getting perpetuated the most darkest cycle, man, that I could ever fucking explain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let me read some comments real quick. And hey, I want to shout out Missy Melissa. Happy birthday to her. Sober now. It's her birthday today. Let's see. We have
that's Lil Gissy. Happy birthday, Lil Gissy.
Lil Gissy on the ones and twos. I have one thing that I want. Anybody want to hit on this real quick? Ja Page, a mom here. What is your best advice to someone on the outside hoping to be helpful? She fixed the typo.
Caesar, I can take it.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. I come across a little harsh with these things, so maybe you can.
I'll share something I have perfect experience with. Well, not personally, I guess personally, but my mom unconditionally loved me through the most darkest of my days until her dying breath. Right? Some people called her an enabler. Some people call her the strongest woman they ever known. You know, for me personally, she was a beacon. You know, she was a way for me to always get back and not like succumb completely to this thing. Would I have gotten sober sooner if she gave me some tough love? Perhaps. My point is, there's no right or wrong. You have to really dig deep, take care of yourself, and then reach out to some other women that are in Al-Anon or Nar-Anon that can truly guide you and make sure that in this process, you're not losing yourself.
Perfect.
There's actually one on in the comments. If her name's Lynn, reach out to her, Lynn, or reach out to this lady, and you guys connect and you can help each other.
We got Doug's first timer. Welcome with all of you. 10 years of being a sober drunk and drug addict. Thank you all for your delivering this powerful message I need to hear. Been struggling lately, but you all have opened my eyes with your messages. I'm glad you found us and are here tonight. We got Justin says the promise came true because I put the work in. That's it right there, boy. We got Lindsay, so fearful getting off paper because the courts no longer were keeping me accountable. Now it was up to me to be accountable and needing to be responsible for my life for once. And that's one thing, man, is being forced into this stuff. You know, sometimes it's a real good thing because I didn't know I couldn't be accountable to myself, man. I need all the accountability I can get, even forcibly. Okay. I need to be taken against my will. That's why I said it was a rescue mission on my ass and it saved my life. You know, at first I didn't see it, but now I look back and it's exactly what it was.
Yeah. What's cool too, Justin, is once you get far enough into the deal, you realize that is our source or whatever we choose to believe in. That is a manifestation of them. I was put in handcuffs by who I believe in today to save my dumbass.
Yeah. Save my dumbass. Yeah.
I believe that though. That's
100%.
It is. I'm telling you, I would have died.
Perspective though, that's 100% recovery because, and I know that everyone else will attest to this. We work with the sheriff's department now. We know all these law enforcement officers. We're looking at the other side of it. I'm like, bro, these people were trying to help us. And I thought they were the worst thing in the world. I was like, man, the cops, man, I don't want nothing to do with no cops and this and that. Like, if I look back now with a clear mind and every time they arrested my junkie ass, like they were never disrespectful to me. They were like, bro, you need help. Like you seriously need help. We came here last week for the same thing. What are you doing? Like,
yeah,
they weren't nasty to me. You know, nobody in the system was really nasty to me. And I just thought they were the worst, the lowest denominator. And now I'm on the other side of it. I'm like, what a blessing to have people and all the education and the trainings that they're taking these days to try to help.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's insane. Like,
yeah. It's definitely moved a hell of a ton, a hell of different from the last time I got arrested. You know, I got arrested back to back, like 1 month apart. And I thought I was like normal, you know. I was like, "Why the hell are you messing with me, man?" I was 130 pounds, like I was Skeletor.
Better to do than mess with
I was Skeletor. I had shit all in my face. I was like, "Man, what are you doing, bro? I'm just a normal citizen out for a stroll."
At 4 in the morning.
Definitely not citizens.
No.
Make up a new word. We were shitizens.
Yeah, shitizens. There we go. Helen says, when I was young, we didn't have the drugs that are available today. I took whatever was in front of me. So if the drugs of today were available, I would have been dead. I keep Narcan everywhere, being clean and sober. I'm responsible for others. That's right there. We have a responsibility.
Love me some Helen.
Yeah, and that's one thing. If you're not doing the work for you, do it for the next person, because the strung out you that's down the street that might get this thing needs you. Just saying. Just want to throw that out there. And I'm telling myself that, by the way. I just want you all to know that, because I need to hear that. Let's see. Anna says, yeah, I can relate. At the end, I felt like I was just a shell of a person. We got Steve in the house. What's up, Big Steve?
What up, Big Steve. Love Steve so much.
We got Rachel. It took 43 years to get my beast in a cage, and I'm not willing to find out what happens if she gets loose. So I fully embrace my recovery and do the work daily. Do the work to keep it. You know what it reminds me of? You remember the Gremlins? And there's somebody put water on that little motherfucker. Yeah, that's what happens right there. Do not get him next to water. It's cute till it comes out.
Damn, that's a pretty good analogy right there.
I'm
never gonna look at Gremlins the same now. They're just a bunch of drunks and freaking. They're all relapsing, man.
You remember seeing that? They party animals.
Yeah, they were all cute, and then all of a sudden, he got a mohawk and a switchblade, and like
different personalities, right? Destroying yours.
She's got it. So it was the water, and then it was don't feed them after midnight.
Yes, that's it. Oh man, that's good stuff right there. All right, I don't know why my brain thinks like this, but it's okay.
No, I like that. I'm gonna use that somewhere. I'm gonna file that back here.
Yeah, that's file
it. And the shit you might need later on.
That's it.
All right, guys, man, that's it for tonight. Haley, thank you so much again for coming on tonight. Like, it is so good to have you come on here, and I'd love to get you on here more. We, like I said, if you're a woman out there and you want to be a guest on here, or if you're a guy, you want to be a guest, like, we're always looking for different perspectives, and we're always looking for strong people in recovery to come and share this stage with us, and we could put 5 or even 6. I don't really care, but I would love to get more perspectives and get more people on here to share the recovery as well. So thank you all for being here. I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next Sunday. Peace. Thank you.